Oh, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we've got the predictions for the first card back of 2024 UFC Fight Night, Johnny Walker versus Magomed Ankalaev in the Apex. No better way to start off a year than with an Apex Fight Night. But it's actually a pretty good card, and I'm going to be going through every fight on the card and giving my prediction and breakdown using my well-researched PowerPoints that I've made here. And we're going to figure out who's going to win each fight on this card. So we're going to start off with the first fight on the card, and we've got Joshua Van versus Felipe Bunes. Joshua Van is good, Felipe Bunes isn't, so I'm picking Joshua Van to win. Van's actually like a pretty solid prospect, I'll be honest. He looks great in his last two fights against Zhalgas Zhumagulov and then against Kevin Borjas. He looked really good. Hands looked crisp. He was piecing up the body. Came back after first round where he got dropped. I don't see Bunes carrying that same power threat like Borjas, but yeah, Van's going to tune him up. Bunes is 13-6 fighting on the regional scene. Like this is his UFC debut and he's already 13-6. Like that's tough. He's got a decent submission threat. He's an armbar merchant. He's got 7 out of 8 wins with armbars from his submissions, but Josh is going to rip up the body. That's what I really liked in his fight against Zhalgas. He tuned up the body. Not against Zhalgas, against Borjas. He landed 49 strikes to the body, almost broke the record for flyweight. But yeah, he's going to have great pressure to the body, use his forward pressure, gas Bunes out, drown him late. Official prediction, Josh Van, round 3 TKO with body shots. He just gets him like a standing TKO up against the fence kind of vibe. But the next fight that we have here is Nicolau Motta versus Tom Nolan. Again, Motta ain't good. So I'm picking Tom Nolan. He's like the white Jalen Turner, but police don't hate him. But yeah, no, Nolan's fucking got like an 87-inch reach advantage or some shit like that. He's a range merchant. He's like 6'2". Yeah, he looked pretty good on Contender Series. Got a nice KO, but yeah. Motta's shit. He got KO'd in his last fight, and then his last fight his opponent got robbed of a submission because the referee stopped it before he tapped, but he was getting beat up on the ground the whole time. And then before that, he got KO'd with an elbow against Manuel Torres, who is a kind of similar frame to Tom Nolan. Those longer guys just came in with a big shot, got him with the elbow. So Motta gets chinned often. Nolan chins people very often. Appropriate prediction: Tom Nolan round 1 KO with a right hand. The next fight is Weston Wilson versus Gene Silva. No one cares about this fight. It's fucking irrelevant. I'm going to keep it real. I've watched none of Gene Silva's fights. He fought in the Contender Series. Apparently looked good, so I'll believe it. Weston Wilson is legitimately a video game NPC and a burrito victim. He's shit. I don't know why he's in the UFC. He's Stephen Thompson's like training partner or something. He's got some submissions on the regional scene, but like, he's getting wins on promotion tough enough. Like, what are we doing here? Like, that's not a good proving ground. So, yeah. Gene Silva, he's like a massive favourite. I don't care to watch any of his fights, but he'll win this fight, probably by finish. Gene Silva round 2 TKO with ground and pound is my logical prediction from all this research that I've done into this highly compelling matchup. But the next fight is Farid Basharat versus Taylor Lapilus. This is actually a pretty intriguing fight at bantamweight. Both guys look actually pretty solid in their careers. Definitely the winner of this could get a ranked opponent, but I am picking Farid Basharat to win by decision, 29-28 times 3. So my breakdown of this fight is, I guess, Taylor Lapilus in his last fight, he fought a midget, Callan Loughran. He defended some of the takedowns. He looked kind of mid. His striking looked solid, but he just doesn't really put it on you at all. Basharat subbed a flyweight in the first. They both fought on the Paris card, but Lapilus, his takedown defense is decent, but Basharat's got a win over Damon Blackshear, who's actually a really good fighter, who, in my opinion, beats Mario Bautista, who's fighting on the card later on. But yeah, Basharat, I think his wrestling's going to be enough. He's going to control Taylor Lapilus on the ground a lot. Striking exchange is going to be pretty even. But Basharat will just get it done with control time. Probably won't be entertaining, but it'll be like a compelling fight. Like, it'll be competitive. But the next fight that we have here is Marcus McGhee versus Gaston Bolanos. It's a pretty easy fight to pick. I'm picking Marcus McGhee to win by KO. McGhee has better finishing potential. I think he's arguably the better grappler, or he's the better grappler in my opinion. Bolanos really hasn't beat anyone good. He was a TKO merchant in Bellator. He got some wins in Bellator, and as soon as he came to the UFC, he went to a decision. So I'm definitely picking Marcus McGhee. He's better everywhere. He can sub him on the feet. What am I talking about? He can sub him on the ground or catch him on the feet. There'll be a feeling out process earlier, I reckon, and then he'll get it. He'll get the grappling going, or he'll just catch him with a big shot. I'm going with Marcus McGhee, round 2 KO with a right hand. Bolanos isn't good in any way. We move on to the next fight. Matthew Semelsberger versus Preston Parsons is actually a pretty interesting fight to pick. It's one of the closer ones on the fight odds-wise. I'm picking Matthew Semelsberger to win. It's short notice-ish, Semelsberger stepping in, so that does go a bit towards Preston Parsons, but Parsons was preparing for a heavy grappler in Hawes. Now he's got Semelsberger, who's a big power puncher. Matt's got the major power threat. Parsons has a good submission game, but I just don't see him scoring takedowns as easily as Jeremiah Wells, who, if you watch that fight with Semelsberger, Semelsberger dropped Wells like twice, and then he just got held down for the round, and they kind of robbed him because Wells did no damage, but he still won the decision. But yeah, Semelsberger, he dropped Medic, he dropped Wells, he dropped Jake Matthews. Like, this guy drops all of his opponents, but he's just retarded, and he forgets to finish them. Like, he's like, I just drop you and just let them back up, or just throw some shitty ground and pound, and then they don't get finished. But I think he's going to drop Parsons, and either finishes him or he just drops him multiple times throughout the fight, wins the decision. So Matthew Semelsberger, round 2 TKO, right hand, ground and pound, or he just gets a 30-27 decision based off knockdowns. The next fight is Andre Arlovski versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Arlovski's 44 years of age. That's all you should need to know. He got chinned by Don'Tale Mayes. Like, I don't know, there's not a lot to break down here. Acosta's a big favourite. He ain't that good, but he's got some athleticism, he's got power, and he actually got a finish in his last fight. So it's unranked heavyweight. It's probably not going to be the most entertaining fight. Waldo could get a KO, though. Arlovski's pretty chinny at this stage in his career. So I'm going with Waldo Cortez Acosta by round 2 TKO. I'm going to go with a right hand and ground and pound. I think he'll just kind of... Arlovski's just going to kind of fold up and just not fight back, and it won't be like an entertaining, flashy KO. It'll just be like he cracks him and wobbles him and then sort of TKOs him up against the fence. But Bruno Ferreira versus Phil Hawes is the next fight on the card. I'm picking Bruno Ferreira by KO. I think that's a pretty easy prediction to make. Phil Hawes, I've got some sources around the training camps there. My sources have told me that he recently got chinned by a women's strawweight in the gym, and I do believe it, to be honest. Like, this guy just is incapable of absorbing punches. He got chinned by Aliskerov, he got chinned by Delidze, he got chinned by Chris Curtis. This guy just gets chinned for a living. Ferreira also could be chinny, though. He did get KO'd in his last fight, but that was like a weird kind of flash shot. He was off balance, like, I don't know. But yeah, whoever lands a jab first might just win this fight. That's what we could be looking at. But yeah, Ferreira looked great against Robocop. He's had a good win. Hawes doesn't really have any good wins. He beat Amavov by decision, but it's like, if you have any power, this guy just can't beat you. Like, Amavov doesn't really have power, so Hawes can kind of outpoint him with the power advantage, but as soon as you know how to fucking hit hard, then you just chin this guy. So Ferreira, round 1 KO with a right hand. Hawes can't absorb punches. But if he somehow manages to keep it technical and not get slapped in the face a bunch of times, then he could win this fight, because he's actually not a bad fighter technique-wise, but yeah, he just can't absorb shots. The next fight, Ricky Simón versus Mario Bautista, is actually a great fight, pretty intriguing one. I've been thinking about my prediction, but I am going to go with Ricky Simón. It's a great fight. There's going to be a lot of grappling, in my opinion. That's where it's going to be decided. I don't care what the judges say. Bautista lost to Damon Blackshear in his last fight, and Blackshear utilised a heavy grappling game plan using a strength advantage, which is what I see Simón doing here too. Blackshear is underrated though, so that loss isn't too bad on your record, but I do rate Simón's wins a lot higher. He's been around the top. He's fought guys like Song, Marab, Font, Faber. I know he's lost to 3 out of 4 of those guys, but still, that's better experience than, I'd say Mario Bautista's best opponent is Damon Blackshear, and he lost, who's not even ranked. So, by striking-wise, I think it's relatively even. Bautista's probably a bit cleaner, but Simón's got more power. I think Simón's going to utilise his wrestling effectively. He's going to have a strength advantage, I believe. Get control time on the feet, just land a few bigger shots, be appealing to the judges. I'm going with a decision win for Ricky Simón, 30-27 on 2 scorecards, maybe a 29-28 in there. I think he gets this one done and then fights Chris Gutierrez in his next fight. Or something like that. But Jim Miller versus Gabriel Benitez is the next fight on the card. This is Miller's warm-up for 300. Benitez was a favourite at some point. I have no idea why. He isn't good. Miller's going to chin him. This man hasn't fought since 2022 where he fought Charlie Ontiveros. Charlie Ontiveros is the same guy that's lost like 5 out of his last 6 fights and got slam KO'd by Kevin Holland at middleweight. And this fight with him and Charlie Ontiveros took place at lightweight. Like, I know he won, obviously, but like, he hasn't beat anyone good. He gets chinned by a bunch of featherweights. Like, he hasn't fought since September 2022, and before that win, he just gets chinned by featherweights like Sadiq Youssef, those kind of guys. So Miller's the king of chinning people that ain't good, and he's going to do it again here. Jim Miller by round 1 KO with a left hook. Calls out Paul Felder or something for 300. He calls a name for 300, my prediction. But the next fight on the card, Manel Kape versus Matheus Nicolau. We know based Manel Kape is going to win this matchup. He's coming for the division-based Kape. No one's safe. But I don't give a fuck what the judges said. He won the first fight. Go watch the third round. He clearly won on damage. Regardless, though, Kape's too dangerous on the feet. Nicolau's probably not going to have that much success in the grappling. In the first fight, Kape had a lot less UFC experience, a lot less experience with good grapplers. Now he's fought those guys. His grappling looks pretty good in his last fights. Nicolau sits on the outside for a bit too long in his fights. Like, even though he beat Schnell's mad chinny, but even in that fight, he stays on the outside so long and tries to counter. I just don't see him countering Manel Kape. And then he's going to kind of run in. Kape's going to either counter him, or if Kape's on the front foot like he was in that second round when he had success, when he was just pressuring him, he doesn't have the space to get his counters going, and he's going to crowd him, put a bunch of punches in his face, and TKO him, I believe. If you like that second round, he cracked him. I think this time he cracks him, he does a better job of finding the finish. So I'm going with a standing TKO in the second round for Manel Kape. And then he calls for either a title shot or a Kai Kara France. But in another based post-fight interview. But Manel Kape is going to win this fight. The main event, Johnny Walker versus Magomed Ankalaev. We got a rematch in the main and co-main. And I'm picking Johnny Walker to win this rematch. This is my first and only underdog on the card. There's a lot of easy fights to pick here. And I know Ankalaev's a big favourite. So this is a card of a lot of big favourites. But I think this is the one underdog that has the best chance of getting it done. The rematch in the desert, the rumble in the jungle, the fucking, I don't know, the Apex, I can't think of a joke that rhymes with desert. I was going to say something, but I can't think of anything. But they're back in the desert on the other side of the world in the Apex. It's going to be interesting. I do think Walker's going to win. He was allegedly on the Epstein list, is something I heard from my sources, but Ankalaev is very annoying to look at, so I want Walker to win. He's more entertaining. Ankalaev's very annoying, so I definitely want Walker to win, and I think he can get it done. His takedown defense ain't the best, but also Ankalaev's striking defense is questionable. If you look at the first fight, Walker was landing some good shots. I know Ankalaev did too, but there's just a difference in when they land. Walker's got the leg kicks too. He landed some good inside leg kicks. Ankalaev got chewed up by Blachowicz as well when they fought in leg kicks, and I think Walker can do a similar thing. He's got great leg kicks. Ankalaev's going to struggle to find the range. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage, Walker. He's going to blitz in, and I think he's going to get caught, finished on a single leg. Johnny Walker, by round 2, TKO with a check hook, and then elbows on the back of, like, on the side of the head, as Ankalaev shoots to a takedown, similar to Yuri versus Alex Pereira kind of vibe. And then I think Johnny Walker's going to have a big call for a title shot. I think he's going to maybe get a title fight if they need to keep Pereira busy. And I think he gets this one done. So my pick is Johnny Walker to win by finish. I know Ankalaev's a massive favourite. I know people think he's going to just wrestle him and all that. But I do believe Johnny Walker gets this one done. He's just more dangerous. He's got the reach advantage. Ankalaev, I don't know, he's a bit slow. Striking defense is pretty questionable. So I got Johnny Walker getting this one done by TKO. I'm going to say second round. First round's pretty slow. I can see Ankalaev getting a takedown. And then it's the odds kind of shift. Everyone thinks he's going to just stink it up and make a boring decision. But then I got Johnny Walker to kind of measure him, stay on the outside. Ankalaev either shoots in and maybe gets kneed, or he blitzes in on the feet because he's not finding his range and gets TKO'd. But those are my full card predictions for the fights. Let me know who you guys are picking in the comments below. It's going to be a great card. I'll be streaming a fight companion for it on Sunday. Hopefully we can get to 3K subs by then. I doubt it, but maybe we can. You never know. So see you guys in the next video, everybody. Peace out. See ya.